Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. Adrian is away. Tonight, a tragic loss after that shocking, sudden Snowbirds crash.
I think people are crushed by it.
Remembering the Canadian Forces captain killed moments after takeoff.
I just heard bang, bang, and all I saw was the Snowbird plane going straight down.
The neighbors who witnessed the horror and rushed towards the burning wreckage to try and help. Ontario is set to start reopening, but are businesses and customers ready?
I'm a bit apprehensive.
I think we're just opening ourselves up a little bit more to the risks.
The U.S. president reveals he's taking an unproven drug with potentially dangerous side effects to ward off COVID-19.
Because I think it's good. I've heard a lot of good stories.
And if limiting screen time during a pandemic feels impossible, well, that's okay.
We need screens more than ever.
The surprising benefits of more screen time. This is The National. Remembered as funny, dedicated, and a gifted storyteller, tributes are pouring in for Canadian Air Force Captain Jenn Casey. They come from her Snowbird teammates, fellow service members, and Canadians, including those in her home province of Nova Scotia. Her death in yesterday's air crash, just the latest tragedy for that province. We still don't know what caused the crash, but we are hearing more from people who were right there when the jet came down in that quiet Kamloops neighborhood. Some rushed to help, even as the plane burned. Briar Stewart begins our coverage in Kamloops tonight.
In the middle of a now sealed-off neighborhood, part of the mangled wreckage from the Snowbird jet sits on a front lawn. A crucial piece in an investigation and a searing reminder of the horror that unfolded Sunday afternoon. No! No! Moments after taking off, the jet plunged toward the earth.
And all of a sudden I just heard bang, bang, and I looked to the right and all I saw was the Snowbird plane going straight down, and then to the left I saw the parachute, which ended up being the pilot, but the parachute was just dangling behind him.
Ken Hines ran towards the wreckage.
Holy shit.
He took this video when he realized there was nothing he could do. No one was in the plane.
The neighbor next door already had his hose out trying to do what he could.
The pilot, Captain Richard McDougall, landed on this rooftop. He was seriously injured but is expected to survive. Captain Jenn Casey, the Snowbirds' public affairs officer, also managed to eject from the plane, but she was killed. She'd been with the Snowbirds for a year and a half.
Her loss is a serious blow not only to our team, but to the Royal Canadian Air Force and the Canadian Armed Forces as a whole. I've spoken with Jenn's family and passed on our sincere and heartfelt condolences. No words of comfort, no words can comfort the pain that they are feeling right now.
The plane crashed into the front of a house. The couple who lived there was inside at the time, but fortunately no one on the ground was hurt.
We were parked right where the end of the plane came.
Crystal Cox lives across the street with her young family. They were out in their driveway just 10 minutes before. It's their lawn where part of the wreckage now sits.
Within 10 minutes, I could have lost my kids, my husband. It's hard to put into words, I guess.
A sense of relief for one family at a time when so many others are left grieving.
And Briar, you're at the growing memorial for Captain Jenn Casey at Kamloops Airport. What's it like there tonight?
That's right, Andrew, and people have been coming here all through the day, walking up to the fence. Some have been taking a quiet moment. Others have been leaving handwritten notes, flowers, and of course, Canadian flags. On the other side of the fence, on the airport tarmac, are the Snowbirds jets. Operation Inspiration, which was meant to lift Canadian spirits, has now been halted indefinitely. As to what caused the plane to crash, well, several members from the flight safety team are now on the ground in Kamloops investigating, but we're told that that could take a year to complete. Andrew.
All right, Briar, thanks for this. It's Briar Stewart in Kamloops, BC for us tonight. Now, for Nova Scotians, the death of Captain Casey is just the latest in a series of tragedies, and all right in the middle of this pandemic. Kayla Hounsell takes a closer look at how she's being remembered in her home province.
58,000 of members of Canada's Department of National Defence and Canadian Armed Forces have been standing strong.
Captain Jenn Casey thought of herself as a storyteller. As a public affairs officer, she told the stories of the Canadian Armed Forces. Before that, she was a journalist in Halifax.
She came to work every day, eager to do what she was supposed to do.
This local radio talk show host worked closely with Casey. She was his producer.
She was a dedicated journalist. She was articulate. She was engaging, and always that smile. It was that smile. That's what's going to stay with me with Jennifer. The smile.
Casey left journalism and joined the military in 2014.
So I kind of started looking around, what can I take my skills to, but still have an exciting career.
She was first posted to Trenton, Ontario before joining the Snowbirds. She was in the plane with Captain Richard McDougall. His mother says the relief of finding out her son had survived the crash was immediately followed by the devastating news Casey had not.
Really broke our hearts, knowing who she was and how lovely she was and how well they worked together.
She's another exemplary servicewoman who has lost her life from Nova Scotia, and I think people are crushed by it.
Nova Scotia has been battered with tragedy after tragedy. Today marks the 1-month anniversary of a shooting rampage that took the lives of 22 people, including an RCMP officer. Since then, 6 members of the military based in Halifax died in a helicopter crash. COVID-19 has taken the lives of 49 people in just one long-term care home, and a toddler is missing after wandering away from his grandmother.
I've seen a lot over the years, but this is starting to take a toll.
Howe is among the many in Nova Scotia and across the country, remembering Jenn Casey for her energy and that infectious laugh. Kayla Hounsel, CBC News, Halifax.
As you heard a few moments ago, before its suspension, Operation Inspiration had been traveling across the country trying to uplift Canadians in this difficult time. This was the view from Charlottetown earlier this month. A couple of days later, here they were flying over Kingston, Ontario, and our cameras caught them over Edmonton on Friday. The goal of the mission, to salute Canadians fighting COVID-19. There are now nearly 80,000 infections in this country and almost 6,000 deaths. Quebec continues to be the hardest hit with about 700 new cases today, followed by Ontario with just over 300. Now today, the Quebec government stopped restricting visitors from Ontario. Traffic flowed freely over the Ottawa River for the first time since April 1st. That's when Quebec called for essential travel only. And Gatineau police established checkpoints to determine if a trip was truly necessary. Tomorrow, Ontario is letting parts of the economy reopen. That includes auto dealerships, maintenance and repair services, veterinary treatment by appointment, animal grooming, and retail stores with street entry. But there are complications. Ashley Burke looked into them.
In his family's 35 years of selling specialty foods, Brad Joel says business has never been this bad. He has kept one store open during the pandemic and could reopen his second location tomorrow, but has decided against it.
I won't have enough sales to justify paying someone and having to take care of rent. Like it's just not enough.
He's even warning other neighborhood businesses how discouraging it could be if they start back up.
Some days it's pretty depressing how much goes to the till, you'll see, and then some days it picks up and you think, well, there's a chance.
Ontario has given the green light to open more businesses, including retail stores with street access.
Everybody is taking care of themselves. We don't need the government to tell us what to do.
I'm a bit apprehensive. I'm not sure if we're completely ready. I personally won't be going out.
The province's top doctor signed off on the reopening, but is asking people to respect the rules.
While there's things more available, it doesn't mean you have to go out. While there's more things allowed to be open, it doesn't mean they will open.
But some public health professionals think the reopening is premature without increased testing levels.
Thinking about all the retail workers, all the service workers, there's serious occupational risk for all of these folks in this plan, and they should be tested at least weekly.
In Ottawa's normally busy Byward Market, people are eager to get outside, but mixed about browsing inside stores.
I think it's just we're just opening ourselves up a little bit more to the risks.
I think there will be some tension at the beginning, but we can't keep our guards up for forever.
Joelle just hopes this week brings more customers.
I want to survive. My belief is to fight or die fighting. but I know that it's going to be a battle.
A battle that he might not win at both of his stores. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, Quebec announced just 34 new deaths from COVID-19, the lowest figure in more than a month, paving the way for some restrictions to be lifted.
I'm really happy to announce today that we have the green light to reopen retail businesses in the Montreal region in 1 week as planned.
That's next Monday, but only for those stores with a street entrance. A week after that, the Premier says daycares in the Montreal area should be cleared to open. For those of you in BC longing for a haircut, hope has arrived. Salons are one type of business the province will let reopen tomorrow. Masks are required and there are space restrictions, so it may take a while to get in. Stores, restaurants, and gyms will also welcome customers. And tomorrow, Saskatchewan's reopening plan enters phase 2. Hair salons will be back in business with accommodations for physical distancing and sanitization and signage to remind customers. The same goes for massage therapists, retailers, and malls. Now, to get back to something resembling the old normal, health experts say we need an effective vaccine. And today brought promising news from the U.S., but Capt tells us it's no sure thing.
The results are encouraging, even if they come from tests on only 8 people. Half received a low dose of the vaccine, the other half a medium-sized dose.
Even at the lowest dose that we tested, the 25 microgram dose, we are already seeing an immune response at the level of people who've been infected with this virus and are believed now not to be susceptible to further disease.
These early results are the first available from a trial that tested 45 people in all. Some received a high dose and showed some side effects, so that dosage will no longer be tested.
The vaccine was generally safe and well tolerated, but 45 people is still a relatively small number. And so we'll be looking across 600 people in the phase 2 study, which will start any day now.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration had already fast-tracked approval for phase 2. The president is impressed.
It's incredible what they can do, and I've seen results, and the results are staggeringly good. So I'm very happy.
Moderna's vaccine is one of dozens being rushed through development around the world. At least 10 are here in Canada, and human trials for one have been approved. But there are warnings to keep this all in perspective.
Most of these vaccines are going to fail. Even if they look promising in preclinical studies, even if they look promising in these early clinical studies like these phase 1 clinical trials, most of them will not make it to market. And that's okay. The point here is that there are lots of eggs in the basket.
But he calls these early results announced today exciting.
The next steps are going to be to look at this vaccine using in many more individuals now that we know it's safe, to see does it actually protect against COVID-19 infection.
Moderna expects phase 3 trials involving thousands of people to begin in early summer. It says it could have a vaccine by as soon as early next year, if everything goes without a hitch. Capt, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, Donald Trump isn't waiting for a vaccine. The U.S. president revealed today he's been taking a malaria drug that isn't actually proven to fight COVID-19. And as Susan Ormston tells us, health officials have been warning Americans that it can be dangerous.
Well, thank you very much.
The president just won't stop pushing. Hydroxychloroquine, the anti-malaria drug unproven for fighting COVID-19.
I happen to be taking it.
Hydroxychloroquine?
I'm taking it, hydroxychloroquine. Right now, yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I started taking it. Because I think it's good. I've heard a lot of good stories.
For months, he's been touting its benefits, even with mounting evidence of dangerous side effects like heart arrhythmia and an FDA warning it should only be used in formal studies. Trump says he's popped a pill a day for the last couple of weeks after getting the go-ahead from his doctor.
Yeah, White House doctor. I didn't recommend. No, I asked him, what do you think? He said, well, if you'd like it. I said, yeah, I'd like it. I'd like to take it. A lot of people are taking it. A lot of frontline workers are taking hydroxychloroquine.
4 observational studies now in 3 countries have concluded the drug has no benefit on patients with COVID and can be dangerous. A further study with highly exposed healthcare workers will examine its use as a prophylactic. Trump has already decided.
I want the people of this nation to feel good. I don't want them being sick. And there's a very good chance that this has an impact, especially early on.
It's unusual timing. Just last week, the ousted head of a U.S. vaccine agency, Dr. Rick Bright, testified he was suddenly dismissed in part because he resisted efforts to promote the drug.
That would make chloroquine more freely available to Americans that were not under the close supervision of a physician.
President Trump says he's showing no symptoms of COVID-19, and in a memo tonight, the White House doctor said after numerous discussions, he and Trump concluded any potential benefit outweighs the risks. So either Trump is increasingly worried he may be exposed to the virus, or he simply wants to win the information war on hydroxychloroquine. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
Now, the pandemic has compounded the financial pain cities have been feeling for years. And now many are asking for help to head off a potential crisis experts have long predicted. Renee Filipponi explains.
The day-to-day work in a city never stops, even in COVID-19 times. But concerns about the pressure to keep it going grows.
In terms of operating revenue, things are pretty bleak.
Week after week, Vancouver's mayor has been raising the alarm, warning the city can't cope with its $200 million plus budget shortfall.
It instantly had to go to service cuts, layoffs.
Most cities in Canada aren't allowed to run deficits, forcing them to balance budgets. Lost revenue from dropping transit fares, deferred property taxes, and user fees has them at a breaking point with few options.
This stage, we could be facing a 20% property tax increase, which has never been contemplated before in the history of the city.
But experts say there is a limit to how much you can tap the taxpayer, especially right now.
Taxpayers themselves are also facing a sizable amount of pressure in terms of decreasing income or income that's just disappeared.
Well, I think it's going to go from crisis to a real tragedy.
Former Mayor and Premier Mike Harcourt says cities were already stretched before COVID-19 and they need help.
Financial situation in cities is really dicey and has been for a long time. The main reason is that the property tax that we all pay wasn't meant for big ticket items like transit and affordable housing and childcare and dealing with the opioid and now the pandemic.
The Federation of Canadian Municipalities is pleading with Ottawa for at least $10 billion to cover budget shortfalls. Without it, it says a lot of cities are headed for financial collapse. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
Uber has already taken a big hit from the pandemic. Today, laying off another 3,000 employees and rolling out a new safety checklist for its drivers and passengers. As Ellen Morrow explains, ride sharing now comes with shared responsibility.
Only after taking a selfie to prove he's wearing a face mask will Thompson Budamonto be assigned any pickups. Budamonto is an Uber driver, delivering food, not passengers, still nervous about the pandemic.
But I did it anyway because I think it's a good thing to help people out.
Make sure the face cover or mask covers your face.
Starting today, face coverings are mandatory for all Uber drivers. There's also new responsibilities for passengers.
Before ordering a vehicle, riders have to agree to conditions too, including that they've washed or sanitized their hands and that they have a face covering to wear while in the vehicle. Inside, you must sit in the back seat and have the windows open for ventilation. If a rider doesn't have a face covering, the driver can refuse to pick them up.
If they're not wearing masks, I'm not unlocking my doors.
Erla Phillips is an Uber driver in Toronto.
This is one of the masks that I use on a regular basis. I'm running low on them.
Phillips says Uber should have made the new rules sooner, and she says it needs to do more to help drivers get supplies.
They've constantly made statements saying that, they're supporting drivers, that, they're doing everything they can, and it's been extremely slow.
Uber says the changes are happening now because cities are starting to reopen. It says it's delivered 5 million masks to drivers already. Competitor Lyft will be unveiling similar rules in coming weeks. For Budamonto, not much changes. His wife, who stopped driving for Uber weeks ago over COVID concerns, made sure he was protected from the beginning.
I was the one who asked him to wear the mask and the rubber gloves and the hand sanitizer.
That's given them at least some peace of mind. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, turning to other news, a 12-year-old is presumed dead after an explosion and fire at his Markham, Ontario home.
He was like a really quiet, bright kid, very smart.
Search teams continue to look for the body of Aran Hamid, believed to be in the basement. The boy's mother and two brothers were taken to hospital in critical condition Sunday morning. The father wasn't home at the time of the fire, but today looked on as crews searched the home. It's not clear what caused the explosion. And another potential hurdle for the long-stalled Keystone XL pipeline expansion. U.S. presidential hopeful Joe Biden says he would revoke construction permits if elected in the fall. The project would carry more than 800,000 barrels of Alberta crude to Nebraska daily. Calgary-based TC Energy began construction in April. Well, after a push to reopen, schools in China are back in session. Up next, how governments across Asia are figuring out how to get kids back in classes safely. And what would it take for you to feel safe at an airport? From disinfectant spray to UV lights, we'll give you an inside look at the future of air travel. Plus,
there should be no guilt around this. We're all in this together.
If you're leaning on screens to help with the kids these days, you are not alone. And we've got good news. We're back in 2. Welcome back. Brazil has quickly become the world's fastest growing coronavirus hotspot. The country now has the third highest number of infections as it surpassed 254,000 confirmed cases today. Nearly 17,000 people have died. Officials say hospitals in Sao Paulo are near capacity and could run out of space in a matter of weeks. Meanwhile, select shops and restaurants in Italy opened their doors for the first time in more than 2 months today, as one of Europe's worst-hit countries begins to ease its lockdown restrictions. This comes as the country recorded 145 virus-related deaths on Sunday, the lowest since restrictions were imposed. Now, in Asia, where the pandemic hit first, countries are also emerging from lockdowns. Rush hour returned to Bangkok this morning, and the bus terminal resumed operations 2 months after travel between provinces and Thailand was cut off. In Japan, the doors swung open for one of Tokyo's biggest department stores, but with new precautions in place. And in Singapore, where masks are mandatory in public, a network of vending machines is being deployed. The company says the first 5 million masks will be free. Now, the reopening of schools is trickier. How do you keep students safe and engaged in learning at the same time? As the CBC's Asia correspondent Sasha Petrusik shows us, you can find a mix of strategies there.
They spray sanitizer and hope for a return to routine. That was the plan in Seoul, where schools were supposed to reopen last week, until officials put those plans on hold because of a new cluster of infected young people, more than 100. In China, they've gone the other way, donning masks and filling classes, even as they tackle sporadic outbreaks. The risk is high, concedes Principal Fang Jigang. And sometimes safeguards get in the way of learning, like in this Beijing school, where distancing means half of each class watches the teacher on a monitor, leaving student Li Dongdong distracted.
Many of the students in Class B fell asleep, and a classmate behind me sleep all the time.
The political push to reopen China's schools is strong, but in the rest of the region, things are moving much more slowly. In Hong Kong, students won't be going back until at least the end of the month. And here in Japan, schools are still largely shuttered. The plan to reopen them still being written. A couple of Japanese school boards did open, making news. Some parents kept their children at home in fear, but officials say a delicate balance was struck at school. Protecting students' lives is a top priority, he says, but we also have to let them learn. Still, one Canadian expert says none of these jurisdictions seems to be providing the counseling schools need, at least 6 weeks worth.
Preparing for the social and emotional issues of returning to school. Teachers have undergone tremendous stress regarding what's been expected of them. students have also been placed in a very difficult spot.
Indeed, in this part of the world, the focus so far is on physical safety, not mental health. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Tokyo.
Well, up next on The National, our regular panel of doctors is here tonight. What they think could still change as the pandemic unfolds. Plus,
it's not enough with the pandemic that passengers see a clean airport. They need to know it's clean.
the future of air travel. What needs to change to get people in the air once again? Welcome back. On this holiday Monday, we are taking stock of this COVID crisis a little differently than we usually do, and we're going to focus on three things: what we know to be true, what sounds true but probably isn't, and what may be true today but may not be in the end. Joining me with their insight and understanding, infectious diseases specialist Dr. Lenora Saxinger and Dr. Isaac Bogosh. Hello to the two of you. And Dr. Bogosh, start us off just on that first question: what we know to be true at this point.
Certainly at this point in time, we know that this virus is deadly in the elderly. There's just ample data supporting this. We've seen this in multiple countries. We've seen this from the very beginning of the epidemic. We see this now in Canada. Currently, between 80 to 90% of the deaths in Canada are in those over the age of 60, and people in the age range of 80 plus are even more disproportionately affected by this virus. So that's certainly something we know to be true.
Yeah, and I know we've talked a lot about about all the ways we can protect ourselves, hand hygiene, not touching your face. Dr. Saxinger, what else comes to mind for you?
For the things we know to be true, I think it's becoming clearer that this is a virus that is transmitted most commonly by close contact, often indoors, so you're face-to-face with a person who has infection. And the epidemiologic descriptions often involve household transmission. And so I think that's providing us some reassurance about ways that we might reduce spread as we move forward, but also areas that we might need to focus in preventing spread for people who have to be indoors and in close contact with other people, such as people who work in food processing industries and the like.
And that's been such an important question because we've gotten so many questions from people wondering, can I get sick by passing someone, in the middle of the street, that sort of thing. And it seems like universally the answer to that is probably not.
Yes, I think that is still the case anyway.
Dr. Bogosh, what about things that sound true, sound plausible, but aren't?
Yeah, I think that a neat way to focus on this one is with the drugs that we're using or may be using to treat this infection. And of course, we've heard of lots of different drugs: hydroxychloroquine, remdesivir, lopinavir, interferon, the list goes on and on and on. Many of these drugs have been touted to be miracle cures or certainly going to work. And we're sitting on the cusp of having the results of many large clinical trials the results are going to be available very soon. And we're going to see shortly that some of these drugs indeed will be very helpful in treating sick people with COVID-19 infections. But I think we're also going to see that some drugs are not going to be effective whatsoever. So maybe some drugs that were touted to be fantastic cures, they might not pan out to be so.
And Dr. Saxinger, things that sound true but probably aren't true?
I was kind of sticking with the transmission theme I'd started with because I'm noticing people are still very concerned about airborne transmission or aerosol transmission. And there are a number of lines of evidence that people point to suggesting that might be a big deal and that would change our understanding of the disease. But as we actually look at the real world experience to kind of counterpoint some of the dye-based or airflow-based type studies, it really looks like the real world experience isn't showing that to be a major mode of transmission. So there's some evidence that looks compelling, but I'm still thinking it's not going to turn out to be highly likely to be a major airborne spread virus.
Right, and yeah, that's been a big one that we've been getting an awful lot of questions about. So Dr. Bogosh, this last question of things perhaps that may be true today, but are subject to change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to watch how this pans out. I'm thinking about the true role of asymptomatic people. Now, we know that asymptomatic people can get this infection, but what we don't know really is what the true role of asymptomatic people in transmitting this infection. And what's the problem with this is We count asymptomatic people as people who truly have no symptoms throughout the whole course of their illness. People who might have mild symptoms are misclassified as asymptomatic a lot of the time. And then there's people who we call pre-symptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms for the first couple of days, but then they go on to develop symptoms of COVID-19 infection. And the problem is all these three groups of people are sort of collapsed into one in many instances and called asymptomatic. It's important to tease these apart and to see what the true role is of each one of those three groups in transmitting this infection. So we all call this asymptomatic now, but it might not actually be the case. We just need to see and look into this a little bit further to see what each group, how each group plays in the transmission of this infection.
Right, and Dr. Saxinger, so much of the context, so much of the information is so fluid these days. What's your take on this last question?
I think that one thing that interests me just now is the role of non-humans in transmitting as well. And so we've seen some tips that you could isolate virus from animals and that maybe some animals might transmit to other animals. And there's a proportion of cases in which we don't know how the infection was transmitted just because we have incomplete epidemiologic contact tracing data. So I think something to kind of just keep half an eye on would be the role of animals in transmitting infection, because that might dictate to some extent how close people get to their pets, nose to nose, etc. I don't think that this is going to change the way that we interact with our furry friends necessarily, but I think it's something to keep an eye on in terms of whether this turns out to be an actual concern or not.
Doctors, I always love learning from you. Dr. Saxinger, Dr. Bogoch, thanks so much.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Now, as you know, we are asking your COVID-19 questions every night, and tomorrow we're going to focus on how it might be affecting the environment. Are global emissions going down because we're staying at home, or are animals changing their behavior? Send us your questions along those lines. You can message us directly on Instagram at CBC The National, or send us an email at thenational@cbc.ca. Now, we've been asking Canadians from coast to coast to coast to share their stories with us in a segment called The Pandemic Diary. Well, tonight, meet James Sharman, who was on the verge of launching his business when everything changed.
Hello, my name's James Sharman, and I, along with my wife Tony, own Sharman's Proper Pies here in Toronto. We're originally supposed to be 50% front of the house, 50% online delivery service. The plan was to open around mid-March, but boom, the pandemic hit. We had to pivot entirely to 100% online subscriptions. It's been quite the journey so far. We're working 12-hour days. My wife and myself, a couple of part-time staff members as well. Our daughter Josephine is putting stickers on bags, but there's been times when we thought, man, what are we doing? But we got this thing off the ground, and the response has been overwhelming. I must admit that given how our online business is thriving right now, we have wondered, well, what of the storefront? Do we need the storefront? I'm hopeful that the economy will, of course, bounce back, and I look forward to the new normal, whatever that is. I look forward to seeing what's ahead of us, not what's happened, but what's behind us.
Next on The National, keeping air travel clean. Susan Orbston gives us a look at the new tech that could be deployed to keep viruses out of the sky. Plus, if you're having trouble keeping your kids off screens these days, good news. The amount of time they're spending on them may not be all bad. We'll explain. COVID-19 is crippling the global airline industry. Just a few months after travel restrictions were suddenly slapped down all over the world, we heard last week that Air Canada is laying off half its workforce. That's about 20,000 people. And WestJet is extending its flight cancellations into July. Now, how the industry will recover from all of this is unclear. But as the CBC's Susan Ormiston shows us, post-pandemic airline travel will never be the same.
Open skies, but frightened flyers. The future of flying has to be radically different. Just look at DC's Reagan National on a weekday morning. More cleaners and staff than passengers. Airport restaurants dark. Aviation has taken a punch to the gut.
It's unlike anything we've ever seen. Our airports are empty.
The revenue has almost completely stopped, and we don't know when it's coming back.
Wanlin Zong, an international student whose visa is running out, has to fly home today to China. If you didn't have to fly today, would you be getting on a plane?
Maybe no. I will stay at home and don't go out.
Flying now is almost lonely, but try to imagine if millions of passengers have to go through security again.
With spatial distancing of about 2 meters between passengers, it takes about 350 meters just to accommodate the security screening line for one wide-body aircraft.
Get ready for more touchless travel. These kinds of kiosks might disappear or get a sanitized protective coating. In the future, your phone will be even more important. They'll use biometrics like facial recognition in many places from check-in to boarding. Airports and airlines are in a desperate race to come up with a kind of sanitation security. At Hong Kong Airport, spraying antimicrobial coating on all the places we frequently touch. Testing Clean Tech, a booth which checks your temperature and lightly sprays you with disinfectant. Cleaning now could go robotic, like at Pittsburgh, trying out scrubbers retrofitted with UVC light.
UV has been used in hospitals for decades as a way to disinfect and kill microorganisms. It's not enough with the pandemic that passengers see a clean airport, they need to know it's clean.
Airports might consider sanitation portals, like this one using far UVC light, experimental, meant to safely kill viruses on the body, not yet FDA approved. On the plane, prepare for flight attendants in masks or a version of full-body PPE. United Airlines will use electrostatic spray before every flight, and
we've actually tweaked the algorithm of the seat generator to maximize social distancing on the planes.
But that promise to space out passengers was called out after pictures emerged of packed flights. Looking ahead, how about a plastic shield separating you from your seatmate, developed by an Italian design company?
GlassSafe is a sort of a shield, plastic shield, to be given to the passengers, same as, let me say, your pillow or even the blanket, to be put on after takeoff.
So when you designed it, what were you trying to do?
Same as your mask, trying to limit the breath propagation.
It's portable, could be stored in a sanitized envelope under the seat. Longer term, Avio has designed a rear-facing middle seat for sanitation and privacy. For now, masks are mandated in Canadian airports and strongly urged on all aircraft. Some comfort for the Brewer family, traveling home, with David staying behind to work.
The risk is there, but you have to keep living life. We're going to have to live with this for a while.
And persuade more travelers that flying could be safe again. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
Well, next on the National, screens for school and play as we wait out a pandemic. All of it can be a little worrying for parents who are trying to keep screen time to a minimum.
And then the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden we're like, okay, now what, right?
But stick around. Some comforting guidance for parents next. Self-isolation and physical distancing have inspired creativity in some families, like this recreation of The Simpsons opening theme. This family reimagined the lyrics to the song One Day More from Les Miserables. But many others are turning to screens for a little reprieve. One mother writing, "Guys, screen time was out of control yesterday. Today we're cutting way back, 10 hours max." I can relate. This pandemic has forced many to rethink the benefits and harms of screens. We rely on them so much more than we used to. But are we falling into bad habits, or did we have the wrong idea about screens all along?
Nice. He caught it. Come on, let's play a game.
Screen time plays a big role in Mariam Shahid's family. Her kids are growing up with them. They're even on them.
Hi everyone, I'm Zaid from my kid world. Don't forget to subscribe.
But 4 years ago, Miriam banned them.
They weren't interested in conversation. They weren't interested in going outside. And when we were outside, they would ask for the iPad.
So they went cold turkey.
And then the pandemic hit. And all of a sudden, we're like, okay, now what? Right?
The rest of their story will sound familiar. Most kids these days are using screens more, whether it's for school, physical activity, just to pass the time,
You know lots about fish.
or maybe Peppa Pig is picking up some of the parenting.
I really want to drive home the message that there should be no guilt around this. We're all in this together.
There are so many other healthy alternatives.
Michelle Ponte is a pediatrician, but she also wrote the guidelines on screen time for the Canadian Pediatric Society. What are the things that parents should be keeping in mind or thinking about?
We need screens more than ever to help us with our homeschooling and keeping up with the kids' education and all of those educational tasks. Another priority would be active use of screens, so active video games. And then the other thing is the social use of screens, right? How are your teens connecting through this pandemic?
I only need 1/5 the force to lift this cinder block.
But what about videos like this? A good replacement for mom or dad doing the teaching?
The answer is absolutely not. You know, we can't sort of kid ourselves to think that turning on a video and all of a sudden this is educational.
But, says Dr. Ponte, talking about what they've seen and reinforcing it can make all the difference. And here's what to watch for to make sure your family is hitting the right balance.
A key point when screen time becomes problematic, and that is when it is interfering with those other daily life things that need to happen, right? So again, good sleep, physical activity, getting outdoors, socializing, meal times.
Back in Miriam's home, she's found what feels like the right balance. Screen time that has to be earned.
My biggest goal coming out of this pandemic is to come out with the least amount of burnout for myself and my kids. And I feel like the screen time, as weird as it sounds, is giving us that space that we need from each other.
And just remember, in a pandemic, nobody's perfect.
We are really looking for just progress and not perfection. And there's always tomorrow.
Indeed there is. Next on The National, our moment. Special tributes for the Snowbirds. Just one of many ways people are commemorating the Snowbirds and Captain Jenn Casey outside Kamloops Airport this afternoon. Next, a special tribute in the air. Back right after this. Canadians are mourning the death of Captain Jennifer Casey in yesterday's Snowbird crash, including this growing memorial outside the Kamloops Airport. But the tributes aren't just on the ground. Tonight, a number of civilian pilots are taking to the skies in what they're calling Operation Backup Inspiration, picking up where the Snowbirds left off. We spoke to one of them before takeoff. That is our moment.
Anytime a fellow aviator dies in a plane accident, it's especially tragic. It sort of started organically last night, just with one post on Facebook to honor, obviously, the Snowbirds and what they were doing, and we call it Operation Backup Inspiration. It's been a tough few months for many Canadians with self-isolation and quarantine. I think seeing this flight overhead would be an inspiring display to carry on their mission or to try to finish up their mission. If I could speak to Jen's family at this time, I would give them my deepest condolences. All Canadians are thinking of them at this time, and we as a group are just doing a small part to try to honor her and her fellow pilot.
35 pilots involved in this operation, and you heard just a moment ago how this started just as a notion on social media, and they actually had 70 pilots volunteer for this particular mission, but could only accommodate 35 for safety reasons either way. Quite a gesture for quite a captain. That's The National for this May 18th. Have a good night.